Welcome back, bosses. In this video today, I'm going to break down how to shift your mindset in order to shift your life. So open your mind up and listen to me really quickly. So I'm sure we all have a dream, but I want you to ask yourself these questions before we start. One, is your dream really your dream? Because if you don't own your dream, you won't stay with it. Also, ask yourself, do I clearly see my dream? Because if you have a fuzzy dream, you will have a fuzzy commitment. And then ask yourself, does my dream compel me to follow it? Some people's dreams aren't big enough to pull them out of the bed. And then ask yourself, do I have people around me that can help me reach my dream? And lastly, am I willing to pay the cost to achieve my dream? People don't lack the ability, time, or opportunity. They are simply unwilling to pay the price to get there. The dream is free. The journey is not. It's a price we pay every day to get to our dreams. Jesus knew that the enemy would cause people to blame the spirit of procrastination, fear, insecurity, and doubt, right? This is already written. This is in the Bible. He knows this. So let's pull out some scripture, right? We're going to break this down through Mark chapter 4, right? And I'm going to turn this into lessons in entrepreneurship. Because Mark chapter 4, it's a deeply powerful passage about planting seeds, perseverance, and faith, especially when you apply it to entrepreneurship, right? So it's a few stories that I will share with you, and I want you to listen closely, all right? The first story, the Bible is full of analogies. The first one is seeds that fell on the path. Mark chapter 4, verse 4. It stated, as he was scattering the seed, some fell along the path, and the birds came and ate it up. You know what that means, right? You know what that correlates to. Sometimes we start things with so much excitement and purpose, but it feels like that commitment is snatched away just as quickly. Why? Because doubts set in, negativity creeps up, or distractions pull us off track. It's discouraging, and it makes you question if you should keep going. And some people just completely stop. But here's the thing. The enemy will always try to steal what's valuable before it has a chance to grow. That's why it's so important to protect the seeds of your vision and keep them surrounded by people who pour into you, not those who drain you, right? What God has planted in you is meant to flourish. You just have to stay the course. Do not be that person who doesn't stay the course. You got to be willing to pay the cost. And we got another analogy, right? It was seeds on a rocky ground. Mark chapter 4, verse 5 and 6. It said, some fell on rocky places where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. But when the sun came up, the plants were scorched and they withered because they had no root. Wow. You know what that means in entrepreneurship. Think about how we often start with so much motivation and consistency, but when challenges come, that momentum fades. Why? Because the foundation is not solid. As entrepreneurs, this shows us the importance of preparation, prayer, and persistence. The trials we face aren't meant to stop us. Trials is going to come with it. That's part of it. They're meant to test our resilience and refine our character. If we stay rooted in our purpose, remain consistent, and keep building even when it's hard, those challenges will ultimately help us grow stronger and push us closer to our goals, right? We got to stay rooted. We got to build a solid foundation, because if you do not start on a solid foundation, as soon as trials come, you're not going to be built for it. And then another one. Seeds among thorns. In Mark chapter 4, verse 7, it stated, other seed fell among thorns, which grew up and choked the plants so that they did not bear grain. You want to know what the thorn represents? The thorns represents the worries, fears, and distractions that can hinder our progress. As we work towards our goals, it's easy to be overwhelmed by comparison, financial pressure, or the fear of failure. And this verse reminds us to weed out what doesn't serve us, okay? So write that down. Weed out what doesn't serve me, because we must focus on what God has called us to do, trusting that his provision is greater than our worries. And I got another one. Seeds on good soil. Mark chapter 4, verse 8. See, the whole chapter of Mark, like this whole Mark chapter 4, he stated, still other seed fell on good soil. It came up, grew, and produced a crop. Some multiplying 30, some 60, some 100 times. When we plant our efforts in good areas aligned with God's purpose, nurtured with hard work, faith, and persistence, the results are exponential. This verse is a promise that when we stay faithful, even through trials, God will multiply our efforts in ways we could not imagine. And then in Mark chapter 4, verse 26 through 29, like these scriptures, listen. Jesus continued to explain the mystery of growth. It stated, a man scatters seed on the ground night and day, and whether he sleeps or gets up, the seed sprouts and grows, though he does not know how. This is where faith becomes essential. As entrepreneurs, we often plant seeds of effort, but we don't always see immediate results. But you got to understand that growth happens in the unseen. Just like a seed planted in the ground, our work is growing even if we can't see it yet. God is nurturing it in ways we may not understand. We just have to trust that every step we take and every effort we make is leading to something greater. I think people really forget that you cannot see the flower until it blooms, right? So Mark chapter 4 shows us that success is not just about the seed. It's about the soil, the process, and the patience to wait for God's timing. And when you feel like giving up, remember that the seed's greatest work happens in the darkness. It pushes through layers of dirt to reach the surface. What's your layers of dirt? It pushes through to reach the surface. And when it finally breaks through, it grows into something far greater than its original form. That's what God is doing with you in your business. So therefore, you need to keep planting, keep watering, trust the process. And when the harvest comes, it will be more abundant than you could have ever imagined. Galatians chapter 6, verse 9, let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. All of this is written. It's written in the Bible. I did not give up. I didn't give up. The things I've been through should have broke me, right? The things I've been through truly should have broke me, but I kept going. I kept pushing. When from age 10, me growing up with no heat, no hot water, having to boil water to take showers for school, me starting a job, having to work early before I was even old enough to do so, having to go manually and verbally ask strangers to work for them. Me losing my brother I don't even want to say what happened, right? I don't even want to say what happened, but me tragically losing my brother, me tragically losing my dance coach. But I still didn't give up. All the glitz and glams, oh, business is amazing. Do you know what I've been through? But you want to know this one thing. You didn't fail if you got up and kept going, right? So don't consider yourself a failure. Don't say that business didn't work, because as long as you're still working, you didn't fail and you're not a failure, right? So just want you to shift your mindset so you can shift your life, all right? That's all for this one. And go ahead, comment your thoughts. Comment what you're going to shift in your life. What are you going to remove in your life today in order to get to where you want to be? Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and now I'll see you on the next one, bosses.